Alright, so we are hold on. Anyways, we are right now in God, what is this town? Prescott. For some reason Cooter calls it Prescott. It's Prescott, Arkansas. And it was a 17-mile walk to get the hell over here. So here's the thing. Yesterday on Thursday, today's Friday right now. Yesterday on Thursday, we were actually supposed to catch northbound. You see, the thing was, we were waiting for northbound over in Hope, Arkansas, and we were wanting to do it towards later on during the day, or maybe during the night, so it would cool off and we wouldn't have to sit, on the hot porches of a hopper or whatever, especially with these two. So we're at the Amtrak station. Now here's the thing. I've been going to the Amtrak station the last 2 or 3 days, or at least 2 days. Let me think. Wednesday, Thursday. So yeah, Wednesday and Thursday I've been going to the Amtrak station because I want to check out the museum. You see, the museum, which is in the same building, has it's mainly about Bill Clinton, because obviously, that asshole is from Hope, Arkansas. And I wanted to go there not because of Bill Clinton, but because of the fact there's a section which was basically this part right here, this cubicle part, the office area of the Hope station, was turned into a little, it's like, they have all this, like, different railroad memorabilia of Hope, and, like, pictures of the train stations and stuff like that, and I wanted to go, because I feel, not only as a hobo, but as a history lover too, and as somebody who enjoys this kind of stuff, I feel like every town I go to, especially Prescott here, I want to try to gain as much knowledge, especially railroad related, as possible. It's just the way I am. I want to get as much knowledge, because I believe knowledge really is the answer to everything. That's why when we did have our homestead, I had literally shelves and shelves, and you can ask Cooter himself on his YouTube channel. He can contest to this. I literally had books on all these shelves, and not even on shelves, I had books everywhere, because I'd find so many books that, when we're talking about stuff like on homesteading and all this stuff. Well, anyways, so I wanted to go. I go there. If you go to the main entrance closest to the north side of the building, which is where you're supposed to go in, right? It says on the door that they are open from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, okay? So I got there around 10 Wednesday. She as in the volunteer, was leaving the station. I assumed to go do lunch. And the one thing I've noticed, this lady, she's always dressed like she's going to a Sunday morning church service. And when I say dress, I'm talking about, 1960s or 1970s, I got money coming out of the ass kind of dress, like I'm going to be looking good for the Lord. No offense to you Christians, okay? That's just the best way I could describe it. So, she don't come back for the rest of the day. And I'm thinking, okay, that's a little weird, she didn't put a sign on the door or anything. Whatever, I'll just come back tomorrow, because we were planning on leaving Thursday anyways. So I get over there. It had been sometime between 9:45 to 11. We go to the library first, and then we go to the station, because I wanted to see if the station was actually open this time. The museum, whatever. It's still not open. She's in there. It's after 8. And she's just walking around. She's walking around. She'll sit down. She'll get on her phone, or she's doing whatever. She won't open the door, right? So I go into the breezeway. There's a breezeway that separates the main station, which is the museum, and the Amtrak station, which was originally the freight part of the station, okay? At this point, she had not made contact with me. She never said anything. And apparently, there's signs near the front that I didn't notice until towards the end of this that says no dogs allowed. Now, when you read a sign like that, okay, normally, if you don't want dogs on a piece of property, you're supposed to, if you want to get the point across, you need to say no dogs on railroad property or Amtrak property or city property, okay? And if you mean no dogs in the building, it needs to say no dogs in the building. I don't know which one you're referring to. Just because it says no dogs, what, you don't want no dogs over here? You don't want no dogs over there? What are you talking about? I have to know, okay? So I go on the breezeway. I go later, maybe about a couple minutes later, I go across the street to God, I can't remember the name of it now. It's this local restaurant business or whatever, and lady gave us a meal. I was trying to get a job for maybe an hour, where I can get me and the pups something to eat, because we was getting pretty hungry. And instead, she just bought us a meal. Right? I come back across the street, and I'm waiting, and I start talking to this local guy. And as I'm talking to him, because he's sitting on the bench near the entrance, the lady finally comes to the door, really and annoyed. "Can I help you with something?" I said, "No, not anymore. I'm talking to him." And just walked off. And I didn't mean to be rude, but, you know, when you come out the door like that, okay, and you have a museum, you want people to come to your museum, okay? But if something's going on at said museum or any local business, and again, take it from somebody who is familiar with local business, because my mother owns local businesses. I'm familiar with how this stuff works because I am involved with it, okay? You would at least want to put a sign up on the front door saying, hey, we can't come in, either, and well, these days, COVID, or, we don't have enough people to run the business today, yada, yada, yada. You need something on the front door explaining why you're not going to be open, okay? So I walk back to the breezeway, and the guy I was talking to comes with me, and we're chatting. Our meal comes by, and we talked for maybe 15 to 20 minutes, maybe a little longer. Really nice guy. So he leaves. I'm already done with my meal. I feed the dogs. I go to sit down where he was sitting near the front door. I thought she had already left, because between the time where he left and the time I actually went to go sit down where he was sitting so I can use the Wi-Fi from that restaurant, this whole time I'm talking to Cooter. I have him on the phone, okay? She had drove off, I assumed, because there's a lady that looked just like her that drove off in a white car. This white car has been hanging out around the station. I assumed that was her, okay? So I sit there at the front of the station, and finally she comes out, and she has law enforcement on the phone. Now I'm pissed. And like I said, if y'all don't believe me, I will have Cooter himself verify all this, because he was on the phone with me when this all happened. He heard the whole thing. She starts arguing with me, you're not allowed to have dogs here, and you're trespassing, and yada, 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 and, you need to stop being rude and angry and all this other crap. And I'm like, you're the one being rude. I wanted to come here for the museum. You won't even open up the door. And as I'm walking off, she's saying, you need to hurry up and leave. I'm already on the phone with the police, and they're going to be coming for you, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, what the hell, man? And the last thing I said, and try to understand why I said this. I'm going to explain why. I'm walking off, and I said, well, if it wasn't for people like me, you wouldn't even have an opportunity to have a place like this. What I meant by that, because I heard Cooter laughing. What I meant by that was because of guys like me, or people like me, I should say, who have real interest at heart of the town's local history. Because again, if it wasn't for, the history that the town has, whether it's railroad related or the farming and, all this other stuff, there wouldn't be the town you're living in. And then, these towns, like right now we're at the Prescott train station, which is now the county museum. If it wasn't for people like me who had an interest in that history of that town, especially railroad related, then they wouldn't have a reason to be there. Okay? And I wasn't trying to make myself look all high and mighty. I was just, making a point that you're a museum, you need to be open during, set hours on your front door. It makes no sense to me why we even have to be dealing with this. So I'm like, the hell with it. We're gonna leave town. I'm not gonna even bother waiting for the train because the only shady spot we can wait for a northbound train is the Amtrak station. And I didn't feel like dealing with her. So I got the dogs. So the hell with it. We're gonna try to hitchhike up here to Prescott. We maybe waited 2 hours on the side of the road. Not one person stopped. So by the time I realized nobody was gonna be stopping, it was already about maybe 5:45, 6 o'clock ish. We basically walked 17 miles. We took a couple hours to, go ahead and chill out and take a nap for a couple hours, but it was a 17-mile walk. It sucked, you know. I even told Cooter this morning I didn't think I can fucking do it, because I haven't walked that far in so long for a certain amount of time since we got off the road a couple years ago. So it's been pretty eventful, And I don't hate the lady. I just don't understand why they chose her as a volunteer, because she just doesn't seem interested in even running a museum. And I read, I read the reviews. Apparently she's supposed to be some nice lady who is always helping people, but the moment she sees me with the dogs and stuff, all of a sudden she completely changes. It's like, what the hell, I didn't do anything to you. I just wanted to see your museum. Why is that so hard to ask, So, yeah, we probably won't be going back to Hope for a while, and I'm pretty sure nobody there is going to give a shit. But, we ended up talking to the lady here, the caretaker of the museum here, and she is such a nice lady. We ended up chatting for a while. She was very interested in what we had to say. She was very interested in wanting to, know who we were, what our lifestyle was about, yada, 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 why we ride trains and all this other stuff, and I ended up showing her my ID, because one thing I've learned over the years of being on the road is that if you want people to trust you, especially in a small town like this, and you're trying to make friends with people, or at least enough to where nobody's gonna bother you for being in their town, at least show them your ID. If you're a nice enough guy like myself, show them your ID. I got nothing to hide. People know that. Hey, here's my name, here's my ID, this is where I'm from. I'll even show it to the cops walking down the road. Hey, here's who I am. I'm pretty sure you're gonna get a call about me in 5 minutes for hitchhiking. But she was very nice. I ended up donating. I used to have, I think I showed it to you guys before, up until today, I used to have a back patch, a Union Pacific back patch, and I mean, it was a nice back patch, but I never really wore it because it was kind of a pain in the ass trying to sew in so many times on the back of this vest I was using. So I ended up giving to her because there's a portion of the museum over here that's for railroad related stuff here, and since this is a Union Pacific rail line, formerly Missouri Pacific, I figured I'd just fucking give it to her, because she has other back patches of like Missouri Pacific and some other companies. So I donated it to her, and she ended up giving us the Wi-Fi. She told us we were allowed to sleep here tonight, and she gave us a shit ton of sodas to drink. I've already about 3/4 of the way done with it. Gave us $20, and we ended up making it 2 deals. The deal I wanted was, since everybody in Prescott has been treating us pretty nice, and nobody's been, I guess you could say, bothered at the fact that we're even here, I actually like this town. I might actually come by here a lot more often. So the deal is since I collect rail patches on the road, I'm gonna bring her a rail patch of every company that either I've rode or okay. So like in other words, I'm gonna bring her every patch I can find. If I already have that patch, I'm gonna give it to her, and she could put it up on the wall, on a board or whatever, and they'll do whatever they want with it. In exchange for that, we get to sleep here on the platform of the station for a couple nights, which we won't be doing this time because I want to hurry up and get to another part of Arkansas tomorrow. But in the future, you know, we'd be able to sleep out here on the platform, use the electricity, use the Wi-Fi. Uh, she already called the cops, you know, said, hey, you know, this guy's okay, he's not gonna do anything, I gave him permission to sleep here, stuff like that. And to be honest, I'm actually surprised they haven't even bothered showing up, because usually even when people tell you know, hey, you know, he's okay, you know, they usually show up, so I'm surprised they haven't showed up. But and so that was my deal with her, which she was completely okay with. Then her deal was she gave me her business card along with the $20, and she says, I want you to, every town you go through, if you can get a postcard, send a postcard. I would like to know where you are, and I want you to tell me every interesting detail that you can on the postcard. I'm like, okay, fine. Fine by me. So yeah, Prescott's really cool. I like it. There's a 1920 caboose right there. That is old and rare. That's a wooden caboose. You don't really find those much anymore. And then there's another rail company here. There's a Class 3 Prescott and Northwestern or Northeastern. Yeah, Prescott and Northwestern Railroad. It's a Genesis, Wyoming company. It's the oldest original company here in the area. But I really wish they were more active, because they used to go up to another town. They used to go farther up, and apparently they abandoned half of their track, which really sucks, but it's whatever, I guess. So anyways, I think in the next video, I'm gonna go ahead, since I was able to get my camera fixed, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys our bindle. We had to rearrange it lately because some, you know, people keep giving us stuff, and I gotta try to figure out what I actually need to keep from this stuff. So we actually had to change our bindle up a little bit. And then I'm thinking, since I already have two names, Hobo Roadrunner and Texas Roadrunner, I want to have a third name, since I'm so since I love our Australian brothers and sisters, I guess you could say, the Australian swagmen. There's not really, you know, you don't really hear anything about the swagmen here in the U.S. I mean, obviously, because they're an Australian thing. But, you know, me being the history guy I am, I think it would be, like, cool if, well, I wouldn't say cool, because that's a stupid thing to say. I think it would just be nice if I had a third name, the Texas Swagman, or Swagman, or whatever you want to call it. The reason for that is because, you know, if somebody says, okay, well, what's your road name? And I say, you know, the Texas Swagman, okay, well, what's a Swagman? You know, and then I get to explain, and I get to expand, you know, the knowledge or history of the Australian Swagman, you know. I don't know, it's just something I thought about. I don't know if I might actually do that, but it's something. So anyways, we're gonna catch up on some sleep, because I really need it, and I'm tired of sitting here and looking at the darkness. So anyways, peace. Oh, since apparently somebody was pissed off that the dogs were in the last video, Marmaduke, Abel, Pixie, hi Pixie Mama, you're so, they're like, dude, we were trying to fucking sleep. I love you guys.